This is our fourth grade class that was learning about Martin Luther King Jr. and reflected on his accomplishment and how meaningful they are to them.
Martin Luther King Jr. was an American Baptist minister who became the most visible spokesman and leader in the American Civil Rights Movement from 1955 until his assassination in 1968.
Martin Luther King Jr. advanced civil rights through nonviolent activism, such as rallies and protests.
Martin Luther King Jr. participated in and led marches for blacks' rights to vote, desegregation, labor rights, and other basic civil rights.
Martin Luther King Jr. helped organize the 1963 March on Washington, where he delivered his I Have a Dream speech on the steps of the Lincoln Memorial.
In class, we watched his speech to more than 250,000 people.
The main message in his speech was his dream of a United States that did not have segregation and racism. We learned that he entered college at the age of 15.
We learned that he was in prison nearly 30 times.
On April 4th, 1968, he was assassinated in Memphis, Tennessee.
After his assassination, Martin Luther King Jr. was awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom in 1977 and the Congressional Gold Medal in 2003.
Hundreds of streets in the U.S. have renamed in his honor.
In 1971, Martin Luther King Jr. Day was established as a holiday in city-states throughout the United States.
Wait.
In 1971, Martin Luther King Jr. Day was established as a holiday in cities and states throughout the United States. Martin Luther King Jr. inspired us all in different ways.
Something meaningful about Martin Luther King Jr. to me is that he never gave up, even if he was thrown in jail so many times, and even if nobody believed in him.
Martin Luther King Jr. has helped many people.
Martin Luther King Jr. went to jail many times for what he believed, and he was assassinated. I may not have my freedoms right now if it weren't for him.
I'm thankful that Dr. King's persuaded others as well, because if not, me and my friends would not be such good friends because we'd go to different schools.
Martin Luther King Jr. was a good man. He did not use violence, he used words.
I'm inspired by Martin Luther King Jr. because he changed our lives. If he didn't do what he did then I wouldn't have the people in my life that I have now.
North Carolina has 30 streets named after Martin Luther King Jr.
It is meaningful to me that Martin Luther King Jr. stood up for what he believed no matter what happened.
I was surprised to learn that women originally weren't allowed to go to the speech.
We made this project to show that his message must be carried forward by us.
The picture of the reef demonstrates what he fought for: equality regardless of skin color.
We were inspired by this craft, but
in class, we learned about the many inequalities that still exist. We made this to show that we want equality regardless of
Skin color, size, culture, ability, gender identity, class, sexual orientation, religion, and age.
Every day we say in our class a pledge which we would like to share with you to end our presentation.
I pledge to treat others with respect, use kind words, perform acts of kindness, stand up for myself